What's going on, men? Today's video is the final recording from my final topical Bible study, which is on earning respect. Our generation doesn't really know how to earn respect from anybody, and they're not really worthy of it. So today, I had the privilege of getting to teach young men and also getting to teach you how to earn respect from people in general, from men that are in your lives, and from women that are in your lives. I pray that this blesses you and that this helps you earn respect and also deserve it a little bit. Enjoy. So, today we're learning about earning respect. And today, when we talk about earning respect, it will mostly just be about earning the respect of people, earning the respect of the people that are around us, that we work with, earning the respect of our future spouses. Glory be. So there are three categories that I want to talk about: getting respect generally, earning men's respect specifically, and earning women's respect. Let's start with scripture reading. Let's go to 1 Timothy verse 3. Verse 3. 1 Timothy chapter 3.
There we go.
Okay, 1 Timothy chapter 3, verse 1 through 7. The qualifications of bishops. In your versions it might say elders. The saying is sure, whoever aspires to the office of bishop or elder desires a noble task. Now a bishop must be above reproach, married only to one wife, temperate, sensible, respectable, hospitable, an apt teacher, not a drunkard, not violent but gentle, not quarrelsome, and not a lover of money. He must manage his own household well, keeping his children submissive and respectful in every way. For if someone does not know how to manage his own household, how can he take care of God's church? He must not be a recent convert, or he may be puffed up with conceit and fall into the condemnation of the devil. Moreover, he must be well thought of by outsiders, so that he may not fall into disgrace and the snare of the devil. So, I know none of us are bishops or elders, and we probably won't ever be bishops or elders, but this is still a really good outline for what godly leadership looks like. And specifically, I want to note, well thought of by outsiders. Now that's interesting because we don't normally talk about being well thought of by people that are outside of the church. And, I mean, the sword swings two ways on this. On one hand, we know that because we're Christians, there's always the potential that people are just going to outright hate us, as Jesus said. What did he say? He said that, don't be surprised when the world hates you, for they hated me first. It shouldn't surprise us when people don't like us because we're Christians. At the same time, though, it's not... We shouldn't strive to make people not like us for any reason other than we're a Christian.
Yep.
Because it brings the Lord no glory when we are not respectable people. As such, I want to talk about 6 things that generally earn the respect of people. The very first thing is to get some character and be humble. James chapter 4, if one of you could pull that up, please.
There we go.
James chapter 4, verse 6.
All right. And he gives grace generously. As the scriptures say, God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble.
Gives grace to the humble. So this is a really important aspect. A lot of the points I'm going to make are in concerns with being humble or having humility. It's really important that we not that we have confidence. We need to have confidence, especially as men. It's important to be confident in our own abilities, confident in the Lord, confident in His blessings, but at the same time not be puffed up. as the scripture says in 1 Timothy chapter 3. We shouldn't be puffed up with all of these things, because otherwise we'll fall into the snare of the devil. And character is really important. Character in general being things like having integrity, doing your work diligently and excellently, being humble, being trustworthy and dependable. These are important foundations to have, important characteristics to have, because as time goes on, the Lord wants to give you blessing, and He wants to give you responsibility, and He wants to give you greater authority in your workplaces and in the church and in all these different areas of life, leading a family, leading a wife and children. But when blessing outgrows character, you're typically going to find that you'll fail. Or at least you will not handle these new responsibilities and this greater amount of blessing as well as you could be. So we need to have good, solid foundation of character. Excuse me. The second thing, we have to be good stewards of our possessions and our responsibilities. This kind of falls in with having good character, but it's especially important because even people with good character sometimes don't do a good job of stewarding the different areas of their life. If you ever sit down and talk with Jordan for a while, he will typically he'll really strongly encourage you to be a good steward of everything. Be a good steward of your money. Be a good steward of your career. Be a good steward of what you put into your mind, how you care for your house, how you care for your appearance even. Like, it's not, certainly there's a level of vanity that comes with some of these things. We put a lot of stock into them, but generally taking care of ourselves in our lives shows that we're ready for greater responsibility. When I was a child, my parents gave me a list of chores I had to do every day, on top of the schoolwork I also had to do. And if I did not do these things, they would not allow me to watch TV or play video games. I just, until these things were done, my time was not my own. And so, whenever I woke up and I did my chores and I did my school, I was able to go off and do whatever I wanted. And over time, when I became a teenager and I had more responsibility, I had the ability to drive a vehicle. I could go hang out with my friends for later periods of time. My parents never gave me a curfew because I'd shown them consistently through my actions with my chores, through my actions with my schooling, through the fact that whenever I wanted to extend the time I was with my friends or if I was out and about, I told them where I was. I showed them that I was responsible, and they gave me greater levels of trust, which has paid off dividends now that I'm an adult on my own, and I don't have anybody who's looking over my life, who's telling me I have to go do these things. I'm able to do them on my own because I had that good foundation of character given to me by my parents. We also want to be dependable. Now, this is really important. Let's go to Matthew chapter 6. Matthew chapter 6, verses 33 through 37. Jaden, why don't you read for us?
Matthew 6?
Maybe it's Matthew 5. Hold on.
I was going to say mine doesn't have that.
Yep, I apologize. It's Matthew 5.
33 through 37. Okay.
Yep.
All right. You have also heard that our ancestors were told, "You must not break your vows. You must carry out the vows you make to the Lord." But I say, do not make any vows. Do not say, "By heaven," because heaven is God's throne. And do not say, "By the earth," because the earth is his footstool. And do not say, "By Jerusalem," for Jerusalem is the city of the great king. Do not even say, "By my head," for you can't turn one hair white or black. Just say a simple, "Yes, I will," or "No, I won't." Anything beyond this is from the evil one.
Anything beyond this is from the evil one. I really like this because, one, it just, basically what it boils down to is, let your yes mean yes and your no mean no. If you say that you're going to go do something, then go do it. And if you say you're not going to do something, then don't. I think that our generation has a big problem with this, where we will often say we're going to do this thing or say we're not going to do this thing, and then we completely flake on it. Especially when it comes to, like, even spending time with friends. Oftentimes, there's been many, many times where I've invited people to come do something, or, I don't know, just hang out generally, not even anything serious. And they'll say, yeah, I'll do that. And then when that time comes time to, go do whatever it was that we planned, they flake out on me. And I absolutely hate it.
Mm-hmm.
I absolutely hate it. So don't do that. Don't be that guy. But if you really want to earn people's respect, this is important. Saying that you'll do something and then you do it, that's keeping your word. That shows people that they can trust you. And you cannot get anybody's respect if they can't trust you. Not at all. Be excellent at whatever you do. No one will care at all what you think or what your opinions are if you suck. Be excellent at whatever you do. Be excellent at your job. Work hard at it. That's part of why the Bible says, do your work as unto the Lord. Part of it is it's just honoring to Him, but also when you do good work, people notice and they respect you for it, and they will care about what you have to say about a matter more often than not. There are tons of people that I'm sure you could say the same for, like, your unit. Tons of people that I've met in the military who are great dudes that I would listen to all day long about anything because they are good at their jobs, and there are dudes who absolutely are terrible, and I would not listen to them about what the color of poop is.
Yeah.
I wouldn't listen to them about that just because they're so terrible at what they do.
Yep, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. We don't want to be those people. We want to be good at what we do, whether that's going to school, be excellent at going to school, whether that's having a job or teaching a Bible study. I would hope that someday both of you and everybody who's listening to this recording would go out and host their own Bible studies and be excellent at it. Excellence honors the Lord, and it does good work for you. It blesses you, and it blesses the kingdom. Lastly, I want to say, when it comes to earning respect generally, be slow to speak and to offer your opinion. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 5. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verse 1. Oh, that's chapter 7. Hello. Chapter 5, verses 1 through 7. Why don't you go, Silas?
Guard your steps when you go to the house of God. To draw near to listen is better than to offer the sacrifice of fools, for they do not know that they are doing evil. Be not rash with your mouth, nor let your heart be hasty to utter a word before God. For God is in heaven, and you are on earth. Therefore, let your words be few. For a dream comes with much business, and a fool's voice with many words. When you vow a vow to God, do not delay paying it, for he has no pleasure in fools. Pay what you vow. It is better that you should not vow than that you should vow and not pay. Let not your mouth lead you into sin, and do not say before the messenger that it was a mistake. Why should God be angry at your voice and destroy the work of your hands?
Yeah.
For when dreams increase and words grow many, there is vanity, but God is the one you must fear.
Yep. With many dreams come vanities and a multitude of words, but fear God. Never be rash with your mouth, nor let your heart be quick to utter a word. That's important. What's the old Abraham Lincoln saying? I'm pretty sure it was Abraham Lincoln. Something along the lines of, "It is better to be silent and be thought a fool than to open your mouth and remove all doubt."
Yeah. I don't know if it's Abraham Lincoln or not, but I know.
It might not be Abraham Lincoln. It might be one of the other founding fathers.
It
Probably
might be.
Ben Franklin. Probably Ben Franklin.
Yeah,
He said a lot of
that-
neat things.
That sounds like a Ben Franklin thing.
That sounds like a Ben Franklin thing. We'll say it's a Ben Franklin thing. Anyway, this is important for us to grasp, especially the people of this generation, because we're really, really quick to see a thing and react to it and give our opinions online, and nobody cares. And nobody should care, because we're a bunch of dumb 20-somethings who haven't seen the world yet and don't really know anything and don't have a whole lot of stakes in it, at least not yet. And we just don't have wisdom. The most wise people that I know are usually not the first ones to talk. Let the dogs bark at the next shiny, irritating thing. But be slow with what you say. People generally care more about what you have to say when you say less. We'll go with number 6. Number 6, in earning respect generally, be confident. Stand up straight, have a good appearance, and be confident. Now, when I say be confident, I mean speak confidently, appear confident, and most importantly, don't be timid in your actions or in your words. This is something that's really important for your own self-image, also for your ability to go into a room and just kind of make your presence known. People will respect you more when you have a good appearance, when you stand up straight, when you appear to be confident. Just general appearances. Yeah. So those are how to earn respect generally from, we'll say, both sexes. Let's move on to earning respect from men in particular. Men, I find that the only time that a man really won't respect me, if I'm doing these things anyway, a man won't really respect me if he's kind of a sleazebag without a shred of real masculinity in him. Most guys, even if they're not great men, if they're, they've got some masculinity to them, typically I find that they'll respect you if you have these qualities. So all of these things apply to men in addition to earning your keep and going out of your way to serve. Let's go to 2 Thessalonians chapter 3, and I'll read this one. Second Thessalonians chapter 3, verses 6 through 13. Excuse me. Now we command you, beloved, in the name of our Lord Jesus Christ, to keep away from believers who are living in idleness, and not according to the tradition that they received from us. For you yourselves know how you ought to imitate us. We were not idle when we were with you, and we did not eat anyone's bread without paying for it. But with toil and labor we worked night and day, so that we might not be a burden to any of you. This was not because we do not have rights, that is, he's referring to the rights of the apostle, which says he can request to live off of other people while he teaches and does work for the Lord. He says, this is not because we do not have the right, but in order to give you an example to imitate. For even when we were with you, we gave you this command: anyone unwilling to work should not eat. For we hear that some of you are living in idleness, mere busybodies, not doing any work. Now such persons we command and exhort in the Lord Jesus Christ to do their work quietly and to earn their own living. Brothers and sisters, do not weary in doing what is right. Men respect you more when you do your share of the work and when you serve others and carry more of the load than is required of you. They really respect when you do more than is required. And what does Jesus say? He says, if someone asks you for your cloak, give them your coat also. And if someone tells you to go 1 mile, go the 2nd mile. This is part of being excellent at whatever you do. Sometimes in order to be excellent at your job or to be excellent at whatever it is that you're doing, sometimes you do have to do extra work, more than the minimum. That is, I would say, the definition of excellence. Sometimes when I talk about excellence, I don't say you have to be perfect, because obviously nobody can be perfect, but being excellent is putting forth your best effort at the things that really matter, even if you suck at something. And we'll talk about that, how to get better at something in a minute. But generally, go out of your way to serve. Men especially. Men don't like to ask for help. So when you give them help that they didn't ask for, they'll love you for it all day long. Earning men's respect. Earn your keep. Now, master. Excel at a skill. Master. I should say mastery. Mastering a skill. A lot of men find that if you don't have a particular thing that you're great at, they don't really want to respect you. For mastery, excelling in a particular skill, let's go to Titus chapter 3. Titus chapter 3, verse 8. Yep. The saying is sure. I desire that you insist on these things so that those who have come to believe in God may be careful to devote themselves to good works. These things are excellent and profitable to everyone. And then let's go to Proverbs chapter 22. Chapter 22, verse 29. Jane, why don't you read chapter 20, verse 29 for us?
Okay. Do you see any truly competent workers? They will serve kings rather than working for ordinary people.
Silas, what does your version say?
Do you see a man skillful in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before obscure men.
He will not stand before obscure men. He will stand before kings. Being skillful in your work gets you places, which is part of why it's important to be skillful in your work. And also, men respect you more when you have mastery over a particular skill, when you have something that you're good at. And it's just good for your own, we said, for earning respect generally, being confident. Part of being confident is having mastery over a skill, knowing that you have become really, really good at something increases your confidence a great deal. Let's talk about sucking at stuff in respect to earning men's respect. If you suck at something and you want to become better, don't just keep sucking. It helps a great deal to find a teacher, to really submit to them, and through their teaching get better. You can always just try to put forth work. There's a lot of books out there that try to teach you how to be a self-made man, and typically being a self-made man means you have a brick wall. You have a thing that you need to overcome. So you smash your head against the wall until it comes down, and then you find more efficient ways to smash the wall down with your forehead. Whereas if you had a teacher, you could take care of this wall with tools, because they're giving you the tools that you need to overcome this obstacle. Having someone who is better at you at something that you want to learn, and learning from them, submitting to their authority, coming under their teaching, actually doing what it is that they're telling you to do, will help you overcome so much. It will help you overcome so much. And this is part of where being humble has some of its benefits. Some of it is to keep you out of pride, which is going to cause all kinds of problems for you. But the other is that if you're humble, people will typically are willing to teach you. If you're humble and say, I don't know anything, will you teach me? Dudes especially are more than happy to teach you. Anything that they can. They're more than happy to help. And in doing so, you will have yourself a fast track to overcoming whatever obstacle it is that's in front of you, or learning some neat new skill that you didn't know how to do before. In earning men's respect, it is also really, really important that you have backbone and courage. This is important with women too, but they don't really figure it out until later down the line. But men really will not respect you if you don't have the ability to stand up for yourself and the ability to stand up for something that you believe in. At least any man with a shred of masculinity, someone who's worth having the respect of, none of them are going to really respect you unless you have some semblance of courage. And courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is having fear and still pushing forward through whatever it is that you're afraid of. And we don't have a whole lot of that right now in our society, in our generation. We don't have a whole lot of courage.
Like the ability to overcome fear, like fear being there, and that courage is like the ability to overcome.
Right. Courage, I would say, is more like you can't... Have you ever heard the saying, he who knows no fear knows no courage?
Oh, yeah.
It's more like you're doing something in spite of the fact that you're afraid of it. I'm afraid to public speak, but in spite of the fact that I'm afraid to public speak, I'm going to go speak in public. That would be what courage is, what having courage is. And it's important for us to have that to really earn respect from men. I mean, there's not always a huge amount of... We don't get the ability to exercise that in quite the same way that most people in previous generations have been able to, but there's still opportunity because there are still things that you're afraid of. There are still things that I'm afraid of. And the way to get courage is to face those things and to have some backbone. So that, I find, are the 4 specific things that you can do to earn the respect of men. So now, let's talk about girls. Earning women's respect. Now this is useful for having a relationship with them that eventually leads to marriage, but this is just also good advice for generally having the respect of women in your life. The first thing I would say in terms of earning respect from women that are in your life is being confident, but not being cocky. I'm sure that you have heard the phrase, nice guys come in last, or that you should be a jerk. I'm absolutely not of the opinion that you should be a jerk. You should have some jerk-like tendencies, like the ability to have a backbone and the ability to be off-putting when you need to be. But being a jerk and being confident are 2 very different things. And also, so being confident, not cocky, and being forward. This is really important for us as young men because we don't see this happen a whole lot. And women complain about it quite a bit, especially when we talk about getting into a relationship with a woman. They will often complain that they have to be the ones who make the first move, and they're the ones who have to initiate the tough conversations because we're just so terrible at being men. And they shouldn't have to do that. They would prefer, actually, that you would be the one who takes the first step and that you would be the one who musters up a little bit of courage to ask tough questions when you're in that relationship with them, right? Be confident, be forward. Don't be afraid to voice your opinions to them. Because 1, if you have yourself a really godly woman and she is looking to see if you're a really godly man. Let me see, I have something written about this. Oh, well, that'll come later. A godly woman is going to find out whether or not you're worth her time pretty fast. And so it is important for you to not spend a bunch of time messing around. Like, this is the way I typically tell other young men how to go about their relationships. I say, the first 1 to 3 months, like, have fun, get to know her, find out the silly questions like, what's your favorite color? Like, spend a little time just having fun with her. But after that 1 to 3 month mark, go start asking the tough questions like, what do you want to do with your life? What do you think about the Lord? What do you think about politics? What do you think about money? What do you think about children? How do you want to raise your children? Ask those tough questions and be forward. Don't waste your time. Don't waste her time. Yeah. And if she doesn't give you satisfactory answers, then say, hey, I like you and I think you're cool, but I have other things in mind for my life. Just like when we talked about having vision comes before women, because if your entire life is going to revolve around a woman, your life's going to suck pretty fast. A woman is not a big enough thing to orbit your life around, to plan your whole life around. And it's really important for you and for your relationship with your wife eventually that you have a direction you're taking your life. And if the only direction you've ever taken your life is after the next girl that you want to marry, and then you marry her, like, that, now your life is directionless, and that's not good for either of you. That goes into our next point. Be stable with solid goals and a plan. Having a plan for your life is attractive to women. Even if you are not planning to date and or marry a girl, they will like you a lot more, respect you a lot more if you have a direction you're taking your life. Having goals, having a plan, being a guy who is not all over the place, who has his life in order at some level. I mean, obviously there's always going to be things that are not in order, because that's just how life is. But having your life relatively in order, women like that. They like seeing a man who has his life together. Now this is compliments of my wife. This is like the secret to all things when it comes to women that I found. This is really, really excellent. Take life seriously, but don't take yourself seriously. That is so good. And here's why. Women like to be made to laugh. They like when you're funny. And they also like when you have a solid plan with goals and a stable life. So, taking your life seriously, having a very serious thing that you're doing with your life, that's good. That's attractive. Being able to laugh at yourself and being able to be a little bit of a fool, having confidence enough to act a little bit embarrassingly, that's also very attractive. And I think that not enough Christian guys get this. Not enough Christian guys get that it's okay to be funny and to make jokes and to be to allow themselves to be a little bit embarrassing towards themselves. One of my favorite things to do is to do something in concerns with my wife. One of my favorite things to do is every once in a while do something that she absolutely hates in public and wildly embarrass her in public. And that's important to do every once in a while, to remind her that you're not going to be tamed by her. It's truly important. I'm not even kidding. It is important that you, every once in a while, remind your wife or your girlfriend that you're a wild man who is not going to be tamed. And sometimes it means you have to embarrass her in public, and she may not like it in the moment, but it'll be very good for you long term. Promise. take life seriously, but not yourself. When it comes to earning women's respect, they love when you set boundaries and enforce them. This is part of having an orderly, stable life. Setting boundaries and enforcing them. And what do I mean by boundaries? Obviously, when you're dating a girl, having boundaries like one of Anna's and my boundaries was we were not going to spend time at one another's houses if our parents were not there, and we enforced that pretty well. Having boundaries when it comes to, let's say, having female friends, not being okay with just doing something with them by themselves. That would be a boundary that's good to have. And the reason that these things are good is because, one, I've said this before, if you don't set boundaries and enforce them, eventually you'll get married to a woman, and one of two things will happen. You won't set boundaries and enforce them, so she'll walk all over you and she'll hate you for it, or you won't set boundaries and you won't enforce them, so you fall into some kind of moral trapping, like you go and you cheat on your wife, which is absolutely terrible. Setting boundaries and enforcing them. There's something else I wanted to say about that. Well, when it comes to earning women's respect, being a gentleman. Being a gentleman helps a great deal. Pulling out chairs for them so that they can sit down. Opening doors. Not being super duper weird around them. I mean, like, some of this stuff you have to figure out a little bit. Like, is what I'm doing right now being weird? Do they not like it? Am I creeping them out? And I mean, some girls are just gonna, with men, like I said, with men, if a man has a scrap of masculinity in him, generally these principles are going to make him respect you. Women can be all over the place with these things, especially right now, because they're so all over the place. Everybody's all over the place a little bit, but them especially.
I know that to be true.
So, yeah. So if you find that this does not work with a particular person, or somebody finds you creepy, like, if you're consistently finding that women think you're weird or creepy, or they don't want to talk to you or something, like, then you've got a bit of a problem, and you should probably ask a bro what the heck is going on and why they don't like this. But if it happens every once in a while, like, whatever. Regardless, being a gentleman, they like that a lot. It makes them feel like a lady, and they appreciate being treated like a lady. Even though, even the whole big feminist push right now is treat everybody equally, or like they're interchangeable. Even though women say that they want this, they don't act like they want it. And they really appreciate when you treat them like ladies, regardless of this. Again, not always, because sometimes they'll recognize that you're being gentlemanly and they'll take offense at that. It is what it is. Most women say that they want something when they don't actually want it, when in regards to this sort of thing. And lastly, this is for relationship only. It is really important for you, when you're in a relationship, to be a romantic. And we don't do this very well anymore. Again, we don't do this very well, this generation. I don't do this very well sometimes. But women really like when you will, even if they suck at dancing, they love when you will ask them to dance with you. And they love when you will surprise them with a little gift. They love when you give them flowers. They love when you will take them on surprise dates, when you'll plan dates for them, when you remember special moments that you had together. or you remember special dates. That means a great deal to them. And I mean, you'll find things that your wife particularly loves to do, a particular thing that makes her feel very loved, and you should engage in those things regularly. Guys, earning respect is important because it allows us to be better carriers of the gospel. It allows us to be better evangelists. When we have people's respect, they're more likely to listen to us, to listen to what we have to say about the gospel. And more than that, earning respect is just nice, and it gets you some good blessings for your own life. I pray that this has helped you to understand a little bit more how to earn respect from men, from women, from people in general. And, yeah, go relentlessly earn some respect. I love you guys. You take care now. And Happy New Year. Bye.